The Elden Ring Nightreign network test is here, and I've finally gotten a chance to play with it hands-on. I've seen a couple other videos after forming some of my own opinions, and hopefully there's something here that you haven't already learned. First off, a quick overview of the new Roundtable Hold. Think the hubs of Monster Hunter games where you can fast travel to important areas. The outdoor areas are obviously new, but it's also interesting to see what else has changed and what might be in the final game that isn't in this test, like some functionality with this chest here, or when interacting with the other characters. Probably the most useful area right now is the sparring grounds, where you can practice character skills and learn the movesets of every armament in the game. This is actually really important because FromSoftware made both major and minor changes to some weapons. The dagger is a great example, with an entirely new moveset, while things like greatswords have some animations unique to Nightreign and feel a little bit faster. If you keep up with gaming news, you probably know that there are several classes or characters to choose from. The ones we had available were the Wilder, Guardian, Duchess, and Recluse classes, but supposedly there will be more in the final product. While you get a look at the differences in their HP, FP, and stamina, this is a good time to mention that the game is selling for just $40 US, similar to some other live service games with microtransactions. I can't imagine there will be anything pay to win, but it's likely that there will be cosmetics or additional playable classes in the future. The aim of each expedition is to defeat your chosen Night Lord, or final boss, on day 3, assuming you can survive until then, that is. We only had Tricephalos, also known as Gladius, Beast of Night, the epic 3-headed wolf from the trailers. When you start an expedition or run, your chosen character will always appear in the middle of this cutscene. You can skip this, but it seems like all 3 players will need to do so. They'll get used to sitting through it when the game first comes out, unless you have a full squad raring to go. This is where the fun begins. Kinda. You fly in on these spectral hawks, but you don't really have a choice about where they drop you. Of all the runs I managed to do during the 3-hour test window, I was dropped on the southeast side of this Limgrave amalgamation island every single time, except once. Same enemies in the same ruins each time too. This is expected to change in the full release with more procedural generation, and I'm hopeful because it made runs feel extremely similar in the meantime. You might see me do a lot of heavy attacks that whiff, and this is mostly because the control scheme has changed from Elden Ring. The simple swap of interact and jump on the X and triangle buttons respectively really messed with my brain. To be fair, I didn't see if you can change the button layout to match Elden Ring, so I'll pin a comment to update you about that and anything else I notice after this video goes up. They also introduced a new mechanic to replace Torrent called surge sprinting, which is achieved by clicking L3. Keep in mind that you can still run as normal by holding circle. The main differences are your speed, obviously, but you will also destroy small environmental elements like crates and barrels while surge sprinting, but not while running. Races are streamlined to keep the tension high as you fight to get as much done against the clock. Running through or near them discovers them to heal you and refill flasks. Leveling up is as simple as spamming the interact button until you run out of runes. You'll get flat predetermined levels, so it eliminates some build variety for the sake of speed and simplicity. You'll notice that after killing mini bosses, and opening some chests, that they drop a purple essence. Interacting with these gives you your reward options like weapons and passive buffs. These are instanced, so you don't have to worry about a squad member stealing your goodies. That said, most other items are communal, and same with anything that's dropped. This could help your team out if you get an instanced item that helps someone else more than you, like I realized here when I don't need to use FP as the tank support guardian class. As the day turns to night, you'll get messages about pOrTenDiNg rain, which is the circle that battle royale games employ to limit your area. You'll need to head to what looks like a small illusory air tree in stages to stay safe and fight the boss for each night. Thankfully, the surge sprint, wall jumps and mounting, jumping up spirit springs, and spirit hawks make traversing Nightraign's land to get to the safe area pretty manageable. These encounters start with smaller mobs before the boss, or more often than not bosses, spawn. Even after you win, you shouldn't rest long because a fog appears and the next day starts. It's important to take the time between defeating the boss and the fog appearing to coordinate with your squad on where you want or need to go next. You'll have to keep in mind that enemies you defeated in the previous night do not respawn, so there's not much point in revisiting areas you passed through as you made your way to the night boss. Sounds easy, right? Guess again. FromSoftware decided to make Morga invade you in the place of players. This can randomly occur at apparently any time. This happened to me once while my ally and I were running to safety from the Ring of Deadly Rain, and again during a boss fight in another run. If this happens to you, you only have 2 outcomes. You defeat Morgot, or he kills the player he marks when he spawns. Ideally, you'll want to avoid dying because you'll get a debuff for the rest of your run, taking additional damage from attacks. Whether you win or lose a run, you'll be rewarded with relics that give your character passive buffs, like flat increases to damage, faster stamina regen, and so on. You also get this Merc currency for use at the Roundtable Hold, but there's nothing to use it on currently. The relics have colors, and each character can only equip 3 specific colors. Thankfully, relics aren't consumed after being used in a run, and will persist until you change them, so there's no need to hoard them, or reselect them for each subsequent run. I'll save any final thoughts for another day after I get some more time in this test, but I will say Nightreign is more difficult than Elden Ring in some ways. Maybe that's a skill issue on my part, maybe the game is a little overtuned at the moment.